Alright, so it is Sunday, August the 18th, 2018, live from the garage in Ogden, and what you're going to look at right now is the startup of the 1956 Whirlpool Imperial dryer, recently restored after I had some timer and motor switch issues with it. So, setting the timer dial to about 40 minutes, and off we go. Now the machine is wobbling a little bit because it's on a mobile platform which I've been using for testing. So I just thought I'd give you a view of what goes on inside the dryer during a typical dry cycle. As you can see, the germicidal lamp is lit, thus ensuring that we'll never get polio. I'll shut the door, leave her go, and continue on for a little bit. Okay, so here we are in back of the dryer with the pulleys and motor running. I'll call your attention to the spinning item just above the blower on the blower shaft. That's the original motor control switch, which unfortunately burnt on this dryer. I'm using a relay at the moment to control power to the heaters. However, that's not an ideal solution. I really want to try and get that motor switch, or at least the switch driven by the lower fan, restored somehow. I'll figure out a way to do that. Because in the way I've got things set up right now, if the belt breaks, the heaters continue to run, which isn't exactly the best thing in the world. So it's not a dryer I should really be using for serious production for the time being, but for the purposes of today's test, I'll keep an eye on it and make sure nothing gets caught on fire. So. Just a little explanation of the controls of this dryer. You'll see there are three selections for hot, medium, and warm. That's really kind of suggestive or subjective because it really is a variable heat thermostat. It's basically just a cycling thermostat. So you could set it in between any of those settings for a greater range of controls. What is interesting on this machine is that you've got a normal and delicate heat setting. That means that the heaters would run on 240 volt power or 120 volt power, giving you a measure of flexibility for delicate fabrics. And with good reason, because this has got a 5600 watt heating element, which is pretty kick-ass for an older dryer. Most Whirlpool dryers of this era had 44 or 4200 watt dryers, but the 56 and 57s in particular featured the 5600 watt heaters for better performance, I imagine. Anyway, it dries well. Okay, so the first test dry cycle of the 56 Whirlpool dryer is completing. We're in the last few minutes of the cycle. The elements have cut off. Actually, I'm a little concerned about that when I messed around with the timer, I modified the cool down a little too well. It seems like the heaters cut out at about 20-minute mark, which I'm not sure is correct for this dryer, so I'm going to have to go digging and find some technical manual information about that. But the important thing is it does a cool down, which is kind of nice. Anyway, we're waiting for the cycle to complete and see how we did with our first test load. Well, there you go. It did what it was supposed to do, buzzing at the end of the cycle, which it hadn't been doing before, so hey, that's got to be a good thing. But now the important part. Let's see how the clothes turned out. Well, perfectly dry, very cool, as I say, because the cool down part of the cycle is a bit longer than I think it should be, but anyway, it looks good. And the clothes, by the way, were washed in the matching 56 Whirlpool dryer. I mean, it wouldn't be a fair test otherwise, right? So there you have it, 56 Whirlpool Imperial dryer, back up and running.